Tottenham, Manchester United and Chelsea have again dropped points, which raises the question, is this one of the most unpredictable Premier League seasons we'll witness? And can the other sides capitalise on their mistakes? So welcome back to #SocialSideline. I've done one of these videos now and I got some good reception on it, so here is a second. Again, we're going to be going into depth on some of these games and analysing what has happened with each team, but I'll just be covering the teams that sort of relate to the main topic of this video. So the first game, which was actually the early kickoff on Saturday, Leicester City versus Tottenham. Looking at this game before, we saw Leicester as a side that maybe can push into the top 6, can push for one of those top positions, and Tottenham being a side that haven't started exactly that well, but we do classify them as a top 6 side. So we saw Tottenham take the lead in this one, similar to a few days before against Olympiacos. They took the lead and then lost points, and that happened again with this Leicester game. They were ahead 1-0 but instead lost 2-1 this time and didn't get any points from this game. A whole 3 points drop for Tottenham, but a whole 3 point gained for Leicester, which is huge. The week before this Tottenham game they played Manchester United, so I'm sure they would have been looking at these two games and thinking, if we can get 1 out of 2 wins, that'll do as well. And they've been able to do exactly that. 3 out of 6 points from the 2 games against Manchester United and Tottenham, something that I'm sure Brendan Rodgers and his squad are very happy about. If they have those ambitions of getting into the top 6, maybe even top 4, then these are the sides that they need to try and beat. So how did they beat Tottenham? Well, once again, we're going to cover the partnership that I've covered quite a few times already on my channel, and that is James Maddison and Youri Tielemans. Both of them in this game created 2 chances, first and second in the most attacking third passes completed. Maddison completed 2 crosses, which was more than any other player. Maddison completed 4 take-ons, once again more than any other player. And he also scored the winner in the 85th minute. We said last season, in the last 6 months when Tielemans was on loan, that when he partnered up with James Maddison, they were dominant and they were really good, and if they could carry that on into this season, then Leicester are going to look like a top side. They could easily have dropped off. That could have just been a 6-month thing. Brendan Rodgers comes in, they start doing well, and then they get into this season and it's just not exactly happening. However, that's totally not the case. Maddison and Tielemans are performing to the same level as they did last season, and this game, as we've said, isn't just against any side, it's against one of these top 6 sides. But Leicester were very close to not getting these 3 points, and quite literally it was VAR that hurt Tottenham, as they scored a second but it was disallowed for being millimetres offside. As anyone can see when they look at this decision, it was a very harsh decision. But what VAR is here to do at the moment is give a correct call on decisions. If VAR wasn't here, then people would say that he's level and it's not offside, I agree. But with VAR being able to specifically look and the referees see that he is offside, they have to give that decision. They aren't going to look at that and think it's offside but it's all good, we'll just give the goal and say it was level. It's not how it works, and it's here to give correct decisions, and that is what it's giving. But then you can say it's taking it to an extreme level, and without VAR, if this goal was given, nobody would have any complaints. This is definitely one to comment below and talk about. It's a big debate, so let me know what you think about this VAR decision. But Leicester now, though, 3rd place in the league, still with only Liverpool and Man City above them. They're looking very strong, and personally I don't see this stopping anytime soon. Okay, so on to the next game. We're going to be covering West Ham against Manchester United. So this game opens up a lot of different talking points. So as we all know by now, West Ham ended up picking up the 3 points here, 2-0, and goals coming from Yarmolenko and Cresswell. Manchester United didn't really ever look like scoring, and you can arguably say that their best player was a 71st minute sub. This was when Fred came onto the pitch. He was able to create 2 chances in this game, and that is more than any other Manchester United player. That is really quite an amazing stat and quite embarrassing for the other Manchester United players. He's definitely putting in a great shout to be in that Manchester United first team. Manchester United's next game is against Arsenal, so I'd imagine Fred will be thinking that he deserves to start this game. With another stat, we can see Manchester United's lack of attack. West Ham were able to complete more attacking third passes. They completed 115, whereas Manchester United completed 88. What really hurt Manchester United was when Marcus Rashford got injured, and even though he wasn't performing that great, it meant that they had no striker on the pitch and they just had a load of wingers and midfielders, and And players, when you look at the squad, you just sort of say they're a squad player, or someone like, hey, they're all right, but maybe they just come on in a game. Like Daniel James, yeah, he's been fantastic so far, but nobody really saw him as a first team player and someone that should be starting game in, game out. But let's be fair to them, they did have a few injury problems. Paul Pogba's out, Luke Shaw's out, Anthony Martial's out. These are big players that do change that Manchester United side. And for me, especially Martial, I think he really changes this side because he gives Marcus Rashford a second player alongside him. What I think about Marcus Rashford when I've seen him in this game and other games when Martial's not been playing is that he'll just end up looking a little bit lost. And if Martial was by the side of him, then what they can do is one of them can drop a little bit deeper and get the ball from the midfield, pass it on to Rashford if that's Martial who's dropping deeper. And with Rashford on the ball, he might be running onto the wing and he'll be able to whip it into Martial, who is playing as a number 9 when he plays now, and he'll be able to score the goal. It's like when the ball is with the Manchester United midfield, it doesn't seem like there's much of a link up to the attacking players. And when it does get there, when it does get to Rashford and he's by himself, nothing really ever happens. West Ham though, we've got to give credit to them. They had to beat this Manchester United side and they did it. Anderson, Yarmolenko and Fornals were controlling the attack for West Ham. Their striker Sebastian Haller was able to win 6 aerial duels. And what he's able to do with this is keep possession for West Ham, maybe lay it off to Fornals, Yarmolenko, Anderson, whoever it may be, and they're either looking for a goal themselves or trying to play it back to Haller. I think they've definitely got something going, and that attack is quite exciting. I still really can't believe that they got Haller, and in the long term, he's going to be a great signing for them. So at the moment, they are sitting in 5th place, and this is sort of where I want to talk about that unpredictability. Here is the top question, and this is where I want to try and get you guys involved as much as possible. Will the big clubs continue to be inconsistent, and if so, who can capitalise on their mistakes? So at the moment, Leicester, West Ham and Bournemouth are the teams that are in the top 6. How long will they really be able to last if Manchester United, Tottenham, Chelsea keep dropping points? Can we see these teams being there for the majority of the season? Get involved by commenting below or using the hashtag #SocialSideline on Twitter. In the last video, the question was specifically on Leicester and whether they can finish in the top 4. A great response here from person on the internet 1, thank you for your response, said that Leicester can definitely finish in the top 4. They have a side with young, exciting and talented players, which I 100% agree on. A brilliant point he makes at the end is that they have a side which doesn't melt under pressure, and that from this pressure they seem to thrive. This point was totally backed up by their comeback against Tottenham. They could have slipped up and continued to fall behind, but they showed great attitude in coming back and winning the game. Once again, thank you for your response to the question, it's very much appreciated. Okay, so on to the next game now, and we've got Arsenal against Aston Villa. Another team that have shown that they can come from behind is Arsenal. They showed that in this game. The surprising thing is though, Aston Villa did take the lead twice. Goals from John McGinn and Wesley meant that Aston Villa went 1-0 up. Arsenal got their penalty, which took it to 1-1, and then I think it was like 90 seconds after, Aston Villa were able to get another goal. Grealish made a great run straight through the Arsenal defence, played it into Wesley, and Aston Villa's new striker was able to finish. But like I'm going to say in a moment, Arsenal were able to outscore. With the great attack that they have, they were able to get another 2 goals, Aubameyang being one of the goal scorers again. And what I want to say is that Arsenal, yeah, they have these defensive issues, but they are just fantastic when they're attacking. I think the situations at Arsenal and Man City are fairly similar, and it'll probably be like this for a few months while City have got these defensive injuries, but both of them have high quality attacking forces, so they'll just be able to outscore any of the teams that they come up against. One player to highlight in the Arsenal squad is Guendouzi. He was able to make 27 attacking third passes, create 3 chances, and also make 11 ball recoveries. Quite a few people have been talking about him and the job that he does in this Arsenal team, and he's becoming someone who's really dictating this Arsenal squad. And this is backed up by the fact of no other player in the Arsenal team has made more passes than Guendouzi. In an attacking play, it's quite likely that Guendouzi was involved somewhere. So I think it really shows that he's becoming a vital part of this team, and he's only 20 years of age. Also in this game though, we was able to see a bit of Nicolas Pepe. 4 chances created from him, 3 take-ons completed, more than any other Arsenal player. It seems that Pepe is on corner duty for Arsenal, and out of the 6 corners that he took, 6 of them were successful. 3 of them were short passes, but of course the other 3 were whipped in, and they did find an Arsenal player. Also, the big thing for him is that he's scored his first goal for Arsenal, and even though it's from a penalty, I'm sure this will give him a bit of a confidence boost. For me, Arsenal continue to be the best team out of the top 6 that aren't Liverpool and Man City. I think I did say this in the last video, but once again, they've backed up my point here. So then, just quickly at the end here, the other results from the week. Wolves are still looking for their first win, a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Chelsea won, Liverpool 2 is no surprise. Liverpool picking up another 3 points, won every game so far. Chelsea, you didn't really expect to win this, even though it's a big game. I couldn't really see Liverpool dropping points. Norwich continues to be that side that do well against the big teams, but they can't win against teams like Burnley after a 2-0 away loss. Everton 0, Sheffield United 2 is a really interesting result. Chris Wilder once again picking up another 3 points for Sheffield United, which is really amazing. But for Everton, it is a little bit concerning. Marco Silva, maybe the pressure is on him a little bit to start picking up some points in the next few games. And the other one that we haven't really talked about, Manchester City 8, Watford 0. Definitely a response to the previous game against Norwich where they lost. Watford obviously just got their new manager, and they did draw against Arsenal before, but obviously Man City was just a bit too much for them. And also the other game, we said Bournemouth are the other team that are in the top 6. They got a 3-1 away win at Southampton. So Eddie Howe, once again, being able to consistently do a good job at Bournemouth. It seems like he can't really do anything wrong at the minute, and I'm quite interested in Bournemouth to see where he can actually take them. But that does wrap up the second episode of #SocialSideline. Get involved below with anything that I've talked about in this video. Have your say about that big VAR decision, and will this be the most unpredictable Premier League season? I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.